Show her your face, fill up the space. Barbados needs you right now. Barbados needs you right now. She can't escape being afraid. Fill her with you right now. Barbados needs you right now. Show her your face, fill up the space. Barbados needs you right now. Barbados needs you right now. She can't escape being afraid. Fill her with you right now. Barbados needs you right now. How I fall down, bring with it a sound that points her to you right now. Erase substitutes right now. Fix what we see, and God please fix Barbados. Barbados needs you right now. Let us see you right now. Barbados needs you right now. Barbados needs you right now. Every heart in the world, God needs you to rescue. Storms have come and torn our hearts in two. Barbados needs you. Show your face, fill up the space. Barbados needs you right now. Barbados needs you right now. Storms may come, but when she calls your name, all things change. Kingdoms fall, one thing forever reigns is your name. The anchor that holds her in pain stays the same. Oh, how sweet to know that your great name will never change. The anchor that holds her in pain stays the same. Oh, how sweet to know that your great name will never change. That's why we're not ashamed to say, Jesus, Jesus. Nobody like you, Jesus. Power is in the name, Jesus. Yes, she needs you, say. That's where the power is. You have all of the authority. Only you are the great I am. You're the King of kings and the Lord of lords. Kingdoms falling, forever reigns is your name. Oh, how sweet to know that your great name will never change. It stays the same. Show her your face, come fill this space. Barbados needs you right now. Barbados needs you right now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. Oh my goodness, you have just heard the national anthem of Barbados, and flying in my hand is the national flag of Barbados. And you are watching the Marcia Week show, and we're coming to you live from Barbados. And on the Marcia Week show, what do? We educate, we motivate, we mobilize, we agitate Africa and the African diaspora. And we are excited to be coming to you live from Barbados tonight. It is an amazing night. And we are going to be doing the year in review, Barbados 2025 year in review, a year of survival, a year of resistance and awakening for Barbadians. I see in the comment section, I came in early and I was reading some of the comments, and they're so encouraging. I believe for the Marcia Week show that all of the panelists should be encouraged just to hear what you say about the show and how much you have learned. And so we're excited to have you tonight. I'm going to ask you, everybody, I'm asking you to share this live tonight. Very important, because, they say we have short memories. And what we want to do is to take this journey from January, the start of this year, January 2025, each month. We're going to look for highlights in each month. And these are highlights that we have found, but we're going to ask you, the viewer, free feel to call in. Call in 236-7000. If Dave can put up the number for them to call in. Call in at 9 o'clock. I promise you, I will stop, and it's going to be your time, because we might have chosen the issues of most that we think are most public concerns that we've had from January to December. But you might say, no, but you forgot this one. Or I might want to contribute a thought about this particular issue. All right. So we're going to ask you, with that in mind, to feel free to call in. And, it's so important that we share. All right. It is so important that you share, you like and share through your help. We have doubled in our subscribers. We are now at 10,000 subscribers the last time that I looked. Okay. And so, because I don't even check on these things so much, but some of you might be watching and you haven't subscribed yet. I'm going to ask you to do that. I'm going to ask you to like the show, share the show right now, share the show, like the show, your help. That's the part that you help, with. All right. So we need you. It's an important night tonight. I think a night where we reflect, a night when we look at what has happened. So we're doing it in two parts. There's a part one. We're going from January to June, and where the pressure is building, January to June. And then we're going to tomorrow night, we're going to look at July to December, because we want to make sure, one, that we make room for you to be able to call in. And secondly, we want to do it properly. We don't want to rush it. There's so many issues, and we don't want to rush it at all. So guys, we are prepared for you. We did our research, but we need you to share. Did you share yet in your WhatsApp groups? Did you share on your Facebook page? Don't be ashamed to share it. They can't do you anything. Remember, we were supposed to be off air so many times, and they can't touch us. Too many prayers, people praying, too many people praying for us. Yes? Keith Brathwaite was the first to join at 1:03 p.m. today. Thank you, Keith. And Keith says, if my people keep the pressure on, the plaster is cracking. He said, keep the pressure on. Yes, yes, yes. Aretha is saying good night to all and wishing everybody a blessed. Um, she said, with sincere gratitude, we consider ourselves blessed to have knowledge of a person to educate and navigate us through the barrage of misinformation. Correct. Democracy lives within the shows. Oh my God, that is so powerful, Aretha. Mm, that is so powerful. Yes. Thanks to the Marcy Week show, a true champion for Barbados. And that's why I tell you, we are the ones they did not see us coming. They did not see us coming. But I really thought, know this, that it takes all of us. It's like tonight we've done our research, but we are going to depend on you to keep us accurate. You're going to also help us. We might forget something. There might be something that we have forgotten. And we're going to need you to help us to remember those things, okay? So we work together. That's the beauty of this show. You have the number, WhatsApp me and say, Marcio, you said something wrong, or this was not done, was not said correctly. You have a wrong date, you have a wrong month. We do this together. We can't if we don't do it together, all right? We can't get it done. Judy Jilks, thanks for your call this evening. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Teroni, for always being there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Monica Ince, Beja Boy, welcome. Thank you, Matthew B. Matthew B, you did well this year for the people of Barbados. Matthew B, you ought to take a bow. You did well. You did well. Jacqueline, Aline, oh my goodness. Heathcliff, welcome, welcome again. Mavis, Lashley, Shirley. I can't even say welcome because this is family now, Flojo and Shirley. Tanisha, hello. I'm a big girl. Hello, Mildred Ben. Hello. Listen, hey, Cammy. Hey, Beverly Perscott. Hey, Jefferson Sobers. Hey, Cammy. Colin Jones, how are you? How are you? How are you? Oh, my goodness. Wrong turn. I've never seen wrong turn. Wrong turn. Let it be a right turn tonight. Uh-huh. Barclay, good night. I wonder if that's a Barclay that I know. Good night, Barclay. Oh, thank you, Teroni. Thank you, Teroni. Yes. Vihoy. Hey. Good night, Vihoy. Trusting you're feeling better. Yes, I'm making sure I'm not missing anybody. Yes, thank you, Judith and Clark. Hi, Judith. Yeah. Hi, Sunny. I saw you on the 23rd. Oh, it's good to see you, Sunny. I hope you had a good Christmas. Yes, Shirley. Yes, guys. Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, thank you, Mavis. Thank you so much. Yes, I had a wonderful time, and I'm hoping you had a wonderful Christmas. I really hope so. Yes, I'm hoping you had a wonderful Christmas. Yes, Dave reminded me to not to forget Christmas. Can't forget Christmas. Thank you, Dave. Hoping that you had a wonderful time. I think my face looking a little too fat. A little. It's all that black cake. There's a particular person that makes. Who? Listen, if you were you at the party that we did for the volunteers and those who supported and so on. Well, somebody had donated some cake there, and so they made one for us. And let me tell you, oh Lord, I think I ate too much of that cake. I think I ate too much of that cake, that black cake. Black cake is one of the things that, so for me, Christmas, if I don't have black cake, then uh, I don't think I had Christmas. I gotta have black cake, and And of course, I did my Bajan, what's it called, Dave? My jug. I did the jug, and I enjoyed it. Dave said it was good, and he did his sweet bread and all the cakes and every yeah. Let me tell you, I think I ate too much today. I ate. I decided, okay, I'm gonna eat in the morning, and I have not eaten. I'm like, you've got to discipline yourself, no, Marcia. This is business. You gotta get the body. Make sure the body is good. Yes, Shirley, I had too much black cake and ice cream. Too much black cake and ice cream. I'm done. I think I'm only saying that until New Year's. New Year's Day again, we've got to eat again, New Year's. And then we have to get back in shape and get to our walking and doing lots of liquid water, drinking our water, not so much juices, right? And all of this sugar and so on. So we have to get off of that and get our bodies back in shape. We have a lot to do. All right. All righty. All righty. All righty. All righty. Now, can I ask before Dave get ready before Dave puts up the PowerPoint that we have tonight, and we're going to go through the PowerPoint together. Before he does that, what is your most memorable? I wonder if I should say memorable. Okay, memorable show. What is the show? Which the Marcia Week show between January to December that you say, wow, that was my best show? Anybody, go ahead and put that in the comment section while Dave brings up the PowerPoint. What's your best show? Who can tell me what their best show is? Nobody. I know you're all thinking about it. Think about it. What's your best show? You said, wow, that show was really good. You might not remember the date or the title of the show, but it might be a topic that we dealt with. Anybody? You're all thinking. Ah, somebody said your best show was the show we had with Ronnie Clark when Ronnie Clark was on. Oh, wow. Somebody says their best show is with Dolores. Yes, and Caswell. Caswell wasn't on in 2025. Caswell wasn't on in 2025. It's in 2025. Yes, but Dolores. Oh, people loved her when Dolores was on. Dolores, you listening? They're all great. Okay, somebody said Dr. Mary on the credit union scenario. Okay, but that was the year before. I have a big girl that was the year before. Oh, Teroni, interesting, Teroni. When we're talking about the spiritual movement in Barbados, I think I know what you're talking about, giving a spiritual understanding. Yeah, that was a good show. When Dr. Greenwich explained the immigration bill. Yes, that was a fantastic show. That was a great show. That was a great show. Yes, the one with Zico. Yes, the last one with Zico. Yes. Oh, somebody liked the show when I went to Dominica. You liked the live when I was on the streets? Okay, somebody liked Donville Innes. Okay. Yes. Marvin Allen. I didn't see who. The best was when the M. What do you mean? Okay, you like when they fought off the cybercrime bill? Yes, the Hope Housing was very revealing. Was very revealing. The St. Vincent show. Yeah, it's quite a few, quite a few. Well, tonight on tonight's show, Miss Maxine McLean, one of our favorites. They're all our favorites, aren't they? All our favorites. That she's going to join us tonight. And I know where she is. She told me, Marcia, the rain came down. The rain came down. She said the rain came down, and I'm trying to get home so I can join. And also, Mr. Bob is going to join us as well. Zico could not join us tonight. He had to work. He's going to join tomorrow. And hopefully Don is going to join tomorrow. Tonight, Janine Butcher will be joining us as well. Janine Butcher would be I'm sorry, I just got a message there. Yeah. Okay. Janine Butcher will be joining us tonight. And remember, remember folks that you can call in. I'm reading here. St. Vincent was an eye opener. Yes. Yes, when Zico discussed that the street is an organized business, yes, and a lot of you were worried for Zico and myself. We're still here. Don't worry. We're good. I mean, I thank you for your concern, but we do our best in checking on what we can say and what but keep being concerned for us, and let us know when you are, so that we can always check ourselves, right? Somebody says all of the shows were really good, but when we had Mr. Innes, he brings some substance back about the way the hospital should be running. Yes, yeah. I felt alive again. Didn't realize we had anyone. Oh shoot, with sense. Oh boy. Apostle, yes. Apostle Canterbury, yes. I'm hoping he can join us tomorrow. Jefferson, the Animal Farm ones, yes. Uh-huh. A lot of people like when Mr. Innes was on the show. It seemed Donville Innes. Interesting. Yes, Donville. When I bless my enemy and dance like a winner. Yes. And you know what I do, Sonny? I tell you, I bless everybody. I send a prayer out for everybody. I bless people. To anybody who think you're my enemy, I send you a blessing out. I send a blessing out to anybody who, for some reason you think that you're my enemy. I send a blessing out to you. Yep, I'm that blessed. Oh, people like listening to the callers. They like to listen to the callers. Yes. So call in at 9 p.m. Call in at 9. Yes, Donville. Donville is. Hi, Adrian. Welcome. Yes, I had a good Christmas. You missed. Well, that I ate too much and ate too much black cake. Yes. A lot of people liked when Mr. Innes was on. Donville Innes was on. Yeah, that's good. Don Animal Farm was nice, but also, but Donville Innes is an old guard. He got the truth and the facts. Joe's River was a highlight of the Martyr Week show for 2025. Yes, because we won. Yes. All right, wonderful. Guys, have you shared? Adriano, Adrian Bascom, you just came on. Did you get to share yet? Tonight, we're doing this together, all right? Yes, that black cake got me. Yes, Corey Greenwich. Yes, definitely. Yes, yes, it's tribute to dads. Yes, that was wonderful. Yes, yes. Okay, wonderful. So, all right, guys, the number is there on the screen at 9 o'clock. So, if there's anything, any of the months that we're going to go through the months together, and if there's anything in the months that you say, Marcia, I think we need to, we forgot that. We forgot that in the month of January. Now, we are going to start our Barbados 2025 year in review, and we're going from January to June. We're going to start in 3 minutes as I'm waiting on to see if anybody, Mr. Bob, will be able to join at this time. Let me just check my phone here, and then we're going to get started. We're going to get started. We're going to get started. We're going to get started, giving you some time. Yes. Now, while we're waiting to start, let me just say that some of our guests are not well. All right, and I know one of them is Mr. Hines, and we continue to pray for him. That he, you know, um, and it's not too serious, but yeah, he would have to share what it is. And Mr. Murray is not feeling too well. He sent me a message, so he won't be on tomorrow. And we know Mrs. Strickland is recovering. He's going to be ready by mid-January. So you have to pray for everybody. Pray for everybody. Everybody who comes on here. Make sure you're praying for them. All right. Somebody wants to have an all year's night party. Mm-mm. Oh, you're not seeing me, Adrian? Am I not being seen? Can you see me? Is my video working? Mm. All right. Okay. So while I wait on my colleagues to join me, and making sure that you are liking and sharing. Make sure you did that. If you came on, have you sent it out yet? Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna go right. I'm jumping right into it because I'm a person of time, and we're gonna jump in. As I said, Miss McLean is running late because of the weather, and Mr. Bob is going to join at 8. And I'm seeing here that Janine was joined at 5 in 5 minutes. Now, January to June, Barbados 2025. We're looking at the warning signs, and we're saying it's a pressure gauge, right? So we're going from January to June, and you're going to see how the pressure start to rise. Like you have a pressure pot, and the pressure is rising, and you're gonna see we started January kicking, right? Next slide, Dave. We started January kicking because this government, they don't cool out. They don't cool out when it comes on to what all these different concerns, and it's almost like they take pride, they take pleasure in annoying the populace, right? They take pleasure in doing that. Now, we're looking at public concern, we're looking at opposition voices, and any kind of civic debate that we had in January, right? So we just, yeah. All right, we move on. Yes. Yeah, so we're on to the next slide. So one of the first things that happened in in January had to do with the cost of living. And there is an article that was produced that we saw, I think it was January 3rd, Dave, if you have that article there. And the article is very interesting, what we saw in that article on January 3rd. And I know Dave is is getting it up on the screen, because I really want us to read it together, because we'll recognize that from very, very early in January, one of the the other article. All right, so this one is about the insolvency of the state-owned entities, but I wanted to talk about the cost of living, right? And I want you to see that, because I want you to see that from very early on Barbados Today, right? Barbados Today, very, very early, they started to, in fact, they had an editorial about the cost of living in Barbados. All right, an editorial about the cost of living in Barbados. Just hold a second. Really want us to see that particular one, and we are live here, guys. So just please bear with us. We are live, but I know I've got that article, and just hang on with us. It's coming up. It's coming up. And I want to find it. I really want to find it, to go through it with you. And thought I had it lined up, and I apologize for that, guys. I thought I had it lined up, and apparently I did not. So just I sincerely ask you to bear with me, and let me find it, because I think it's important for us to read it together, and I am doing my best to locate it. I read it today. Right, it's here. Okay. All right, let me just. Okay, I found it. My apologies, guys. Spent a lot of time preparing this, and thought that I had it all together, and it's put up the wrong article. But it's something that I think that we need to look at. So just bear with me. In the meantime, please like and share, and we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right, because I don't just want to read from my head. Dave, I think you now have the correct one right there in your WhatsApp. All right, and I do have it here as well. So while Dave gets ready to put it up, it's an editorial written by the editor of Barbados Today, and that this article, viewers, was on the 3rd of January 2025. All right, earlier. Now it says a significant part of ushering in the new year is looking back. As we welcome 2025, it is impossible to ignore the challenges that have plagued Barbados over the past year. From surging crime rates to the crippling cost of living and a healthcare system on the brink, these pressing issues have left a profound impact on our society. While acknowledging these difficulties, it is imperative that we face them head on with a commitment to doing better for every citizen in 2025. So this was I would say almost they're kind of giving a warning or a report, or they're sounding an alarm. Barbados today, I don't know what has happened to Barbados today, but January 3rd, 2025, Barbados today was basically calling on the government, right, to make a commitment to do better for every citizen in 2025. And they named the surging crime rates to the crippling cost of living, just the cost of living, and a healthcare system on the brink. These pressing issues have a profound impact on our society. The big question is, did the government listen to Barbados today? All right, let me get down to the fifth paragraph here. The fifth paragraph says, the escalating cost of living continues to weigh heavily on Barbadians. January the 3rd, 2025. You would think this was written today, right? Almost a year ago. The escalating cost of living continues to weigh heavily on Barbadians, with skyrocketing prices for food, fuel, essential goods, and hikes in utility bills. A whole year later, and we are still dealing with the same things. They weigh heavily on Barbadians because we carry them almost like we're carrying a load on our backs. The dissolution of the social compact between the government and the private sector, which once offered temporary relief, has left many Barbadians struggling to make ends meet. Opposition voices and consumer advocates have consistently highlighted the cost of living crisis, demanding urgent attention and action from policymakers. Now, I told you this is an article from Barbados Today. Nothing that I have made up, because they have a way to say that we are telling lies on the show, that we are pushing propaganda. So that's why at the beginning I had a shaky start, because I wanted to show you the actual article. I wanted you to see the actual article from Barbados Today. I am just reading it. Yeah. I am just reading what Barbados Today is saying. Doesn't that read like December 28th? A whole year has passed. Barbados Today continues to say, fuel prices, despite a drop in global oil costs, remained at record highs, with citizens paying $4.20 per liter at the pump for over 15 months. A decrease came just a few weeks ago. Aren't we still battling those high fuel prices? And it talked about the price check. It says, while it's a useful tool for comparison shopping, it offers little relief to consumers burdened by inflated costs. And back then, in January 2025, the Barbados Consumer Empowerment was calling for stronger regulatory oversight to prevent price gouging practices. Okay. Barbados Today is saying the article is by Barbados Today, by the editor of Barbados Today. Says in 2025, the government must take decisive steps to ease the financial burden on its citizens. This includes revisiting taxation policies, introducing targeted subsidies for essential goods, and fostering genuine competition in the market to drive down prices. Barbados Today says, moreover, public-private partnerships should be rekindled to create sustainable solutions that balance profit with public welfare. The question is, did the government take those decisive steps to ease the financial burden on its citizens? Did they revisit their taxation policies? I might be missing something, so somebody can always put something in the chat, right? Have they eased the financial burden on its citizens? That we were carrying a burden for years now. And in 2025, the beginning of 2025, Barbados Today was asking the government to do this. They went on to talk about the healthcare system in Barbados, which was once a source of pride, is now facing significant challenges. The QEH hospital has become emblematic of the strains on the public healthcare infrastructure. Stories of 48 to 72 hours waits at the accident and emergency department have become all too common, leaving patients frustrated and in pain. This is an article, January 3rd, 2025, if you're just joining me, written by Barbados Today, the editor of Barbados Today. And I could go on and go on. It's a litany of things here. They talk about crime, everything here, okay? But the last paragraph, Dave, if we could go down to the last paragraph. Barbadians have endured much in 2024, it says, but they have also demonstrated resilience and a collective desire for change. It is up to our leaders, policymakers, and every citizen to channel this determination into meaningful progress. The year ahead must be one of solutions, not excuses, of action, not rhetoric. Together, we can build a safer, fairer, and healthier Barbados, one that truly serves all its people. And they say, on behalf of the chairman, management, and staff of Barbados Today, we wish you and yours a happy and prosperous 2025. Now, I want us to remember this article because it is going to be very interesting to see the article that Barbados Today writes this year, January 2026. Yeah? Barclay saying at QH, people in A&E are okay, Tyrone, I want you to call in, Tyrone, at 9 o'clock. Okay, so I can't take the call now. We're going to take the call at 9, all right? We're going to pause and take the call at 9, yeah? Yeah? The changes to assist the poor and needy, non-existent, right? And I don't know, you listen. I let you be the judge of that. You're saying some Barbadians are still talking how great this administration is and showing the PM with praises. But that was 2025 that Barbados Today wrote that article. The editor, not Marcia Weeks, not Maxine McLean, not Janine Butcher, who I see looking lovely, getting ready to come in, not Alvin Bob, who's going to join us at 8. No, none of us, because they call us liars over here. They say all we do is lie and we spread propaganda. That was not my writing. And we are experiencing, and we're not seeing any much of any change. Right? Yeah. So yeah. So now we're going to let me welcome, use the time to welcome Ms. Janine Butcher, and then we're going to go on to the state-owned enterprises under financial strain. Good evening, Miss Butcher. Good to see you. You're looking lovely.
Thank you. Good evening, Marcia. It's always good to be here. And good evening to the loyal opposition. Happy holidays to every one of you. It's so good to be here once again.
Yes, and I'm hoping that you had a great Christmas.
Yes, it was family filled. How was yours?
Yes, the same family and some friends too, and it was really wonderful. And I was looking forward to getting back on the show as well, and excited about tonight because tonight we're picking things apart, and we're going from January. We're going to go from January to June tonight, as you know. But and then tomorrow night we pick up from July to December. But I would ask you to jump right in here. We're going to talk about our state-owned enterprises under financial strain, and I'm going to ask Dave to put up that article, Dave, that he had up before, because there's something, Janine, that I want to remind Barbadians of. So everybody, Dave, if you could put up, yes, thank you so much, Dave. Listen, what we're going to share here with you is going to open your eyes. This one you've got. Listen, if you wear glasses, put on the glasses, right? If you don't wear glasses, take off the glasses. Stop what you're doing. Sometimes you're doing stuff and watching the show. I need you to pay attention here now. I'm going to show you something, Janine and everybody, what they're trying to do, and tell me what you think. If you think my analysis is right, okay? But let's read. I like to read what they have there. Dave, open up the article for me so I can see it clearly. I think this is on Facebook, is it? Let's go up. Now, the article says that, and this is this Barbados Today, or is it Nation Day? Okay. This newspaper article says three state-owned entities, SOEs, have been identified as posing a significant risk to the country's fiscal plan. So we're going back to school now. The country's fiscal plan. All right? According to a government report, including a fledgling housing project, the 61-year-old National Broadcasting and National Bus Company. Okay? So it is a housing project, it is the CBC and Transport Board. The Hope Inc. project, Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, and Transport Board were all described as technically insolvent. What does that mean? And undermined the International Monetary Fund supervised austerity drive. I'm just going to let that little paragraph there with 3 lines just sit there. Look at that. They undermine the International Monetary Fund supervised austerity drive. This is January 4th, 2025. A red flag has been raised about the risk posed to the fiscal plan due to the millions in debt which the government has guaranteed for 3 state-owned entities in particular. But other vital public services providing health, education, housing, and farm produce remain under watch from month to month. The administration's Barbados medium-term fiscal framework 2025 to 2026, then to 2027 28 said the most significant risk is posed by the government's implicit guarantees of the liabilities of the controversial Hope Inc. project, CBC, and the Transport Board. Now, what is that telling us? What is that telling us? Telling us a lot, Janine, that what we saw happen with the Transport Board, right, did not happen overnight. This is telling us that the IMF is saying that the government taking on responsibility for the Transport Board, QEH, right? Hope Project, all of these various social services then that are supposed to, the government is responsible for these social services, we're paying taxes. The IMF says that it undermines their austerity plan for Barbados. Now, we know, Janine and viewers, that the first to go is the Transport Board, right? The Transport Board, the government is releasing themselves of the responsibility of the Transport Board, right? These are 3 state-owned agencies, right? The Transport Board, the big question, Janine and viewers, is what's going to happen to the health service in Barbados? Will it be privatized? We can't say that they didn't warn us. They warned us from January 4th, 2025 about the Transport Board. But we are getting, oh my God, the Transport Board, they told us that it is a risk to the fiscal plan and undermines what the IMF, the austerity plan for the IMF for Barbados. But we are still surprised. Are we going to be surprised when they do what they want to do to the healthcare in Barbados? But Janine, any thoughts on that before we move on?
Yes, please. So in regards to not only the Transport Board being the first one, remember there were also talks previously about selling CBC as well. We know that some things would have changed at CBC, some workers were let go and stuff like that. So they already started the process at CBC as well, quote unquote. And then they said that these other things were also on the watch as well. And let's not forget the other day, the parents were to receive a letter for education. So they already have started, to put this in the mind of the parents. Look, this is how much it costs. So this is how much maybe you have to pay in the future, allegedly. So when was this article written?
This was January 4th. Dave, I think do I have 2 articles there, Dave? There's another one, Dave? So there's another one on the SOEs.
Yeah, so this was written on January 4th, and is it about a month ago or so when they released so they were going to tell the parents, they're going to send the letters to let them see how much education costs, which could have been done in one of their famous press conferences. It doesn't need to be sent to the parent per child. So this is all in preparing the mind, psychologically preparing you, to show you that this is what you have to pay for.
Yeah. And I think that you're so right, because what they're doing, they are starting to put it in the heads of the parents, in the minds of the parents, the minds of Barbadians, that they listen, we're paying all of this for education, and get ready, we're going to have to privatize it. We can't pay that much. We can't continue with it. And that is basically what is happening. So Barbadians, we have to get ready. We have to understand what is going on with our state-owned enterprises. We've been saying it on the show, and it is right there before us. When we read it January 4th, 2025, we didn't fully understand that this is what was going to happen. Well, we know, as Janine says, about a month ago, we know what happened to the Transport Board. And we know what they're planning to do with the Transport Board. And therefore, we know this is going to be more than likely what happens to QEH, what happens to education, what happens to all of these social services that they're supposed to provide. But as somebody's saying, stop paying taxes. But we are more taxed than any other under any other administration. I mean, they have, it's about, I think about 14 taxes, right? And lots of new taxes that they've introduced, over the time, over the 7 years, right?
Yeah, I think that I can only describe it as I was saying earlier, as psychological warfare on the people of Barbados. And we really have to take this serious. They're using these things so that they can influence our opinions, our emotions as we go to day. The bus service has gotten worse. They were saying that they were going to buy all of these buses. Every minute 30 buses are brought in. I'm not sure if it's just for a parade when they come out of the port, but then afterwards, people have to wait 6 hours in the bus terminal. For example, like at Chicago Savannah Bus Society, it's a joint bus system for those buses, for those routes. And now the route has taken from 6 o'clock on the evening, where if you get the 6 o'clock bus, it's not guaranteed. It comes up to Constant, then it goes down to Dash Valley, then it comes back down to the police station, what it's called now, in St. George there, so by where the condos are, and it goes back down that road. So that's a lot of free driving. And to me, it's for the psychological warfare. Once again, that's why I continue to call it, as I see things happening in Barbados, is to continue to make you frustrated. So people can say, but the bus service really wants selling for real, because, they got the buses. So it's to constantly make, because if you're bringing in all of these buses month by month, or as the months pass, and the bus service is still right there straight, you're correct, Tyrone. Thank you so much. As if the buses are coming in monthly, or for the best past everything, we had 2 or 3 fleets of 30 buses coming in, and still you cannot get a bus to go where you're going. It's to make you frustrated as a Barbadian, for you to say, let them sell it for truth because they can't get it handled. That's what they want Barbadians to say. They continue to try to influence our emotions, our opinions, by making us frustrated on a day-to-day basis for things that they had imagined want to fix. Because when they were being voted in 2018, they said they could have fixed everything in Barbados. And still, to me, we are worse off than we even were in 2008. We gone back to before 2008. In 2008, I was even listening to a speech from David Thompson just last night, when he were complaining about the persons in the QEH waiting 3 to 4 hours. I can't even get a bed to sleep on. And this is 2025.
Somebody sent me, let me send it to Dave and see if Dave can get that up to play that, and because then we have to go to crime. Go right ahead.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like, the Prime Minister claimed when she visits us here, because she's not often here, so she does not understand the praise of the people. So then when she visits us here, she wants to say, this is not happening in Barbados. This can't be the same place. Obviously, if you're not in a position or in a place for something to be happening to you, or haven't have to go through the struggles that day-to-day Barbadians live through, I, for myself, are one of those people. How can you say that things are not happening here? You have to be in the place for you to understand the place of the people. And if you're not on your first travel on a private jet from time to time, maybe you can understand where people are going through on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, very well said. And now, I mean, it's going to, once it's if they get their way, and it's privatized, then you're going to see how what's going to happen, because all of those people in the rural parts of Barbados, they don't have proper service. And and so if you're just joining us, we're doing a year in review, and we just shared an article from January 4, 2025. And in that article, we saw where the warning was being given to us of what was going to happen to the transport board that happened a month ago. And therefore, we have to be concerned, because these state-owned enterprises that they say are they pose a significant risk to the fiscal plan of the government, and undermines the work of the IMF, right? The austerity plan that the IMF has for us, austerity plan for the IMF has for us, is to privatize the hospital, privatize the CBC, privatize education. They won't tell you this, but if it is undermining the IMF plan. What do you think is going to happen? We owe the IMF. We borrowed money and we are slave to the lender of that money. And if the IMF wants us to privatize the hospital, privatize education, right? And privatize our transport board, it will be privatized. And there, you notice, Janine, not much is being said about it right now. They're getting ready for election, and they're not saying much about all of this. Just like
Right.
this was said January 2025, and they didn't do anything until close to the end of the year with the transport board, and then started sending letters home to the children and the parents about how much they are spending on education of our taxpayers' money. It's a matter of time before education will be privatized and health privatized. And I'm saying it because that's what the article is alluding to. But Dave, go ahead, please.
Every night in this country, elderly citizens and people who cannot afford to pay for health care go to sleep saying to themselves, well, if I have to go in QEH accident and emergency, I may stand there for 2 or 3 days and nobody may notice me. In a country that boasts of being the #1 developing country in the world, then that tells you that something is wrong in Barbados. And if we have, as the leader of this country, an economist as Minister of Finance, and yet in 14 years, $1 billion in cost overruns could be run up in Barbados on all kinds of dubious projects, in which supporters and members of the Barbados Civil Party and close friends of the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister himself can be receiving personal checks. And in his case, from a banking institution, and he's the Minister of Finance in this country. I just want you to think for a minute. Pause for a minute. Do you know of any other country in the world, least of all in the Caribbean, where a Minister of Finance could receive a personal check, a check in his name? It wasn't a mortgage. He wasn't borrowing the money. It wasn't an investment he was making. The bank was not paying him back money that he had deposited. This is a banking institution in Barbados. And your Minister of Finance, who is the person responsible for the integrity of the financial system in this country, receiving personal checks in his name from banking institutions. This is unheard of in the Caribbean, but it's also unheard of in the Commonwealth. Anytime that is discovered, the minister should resign. But we are in the midst of an election, so he may feel that shrouded in an election, that this is just politics. I am asking you to pass a verdict on when after tomorrow at the polls.
Okay. All right. So we will pause it. We'll pause it there. But you brought that up because you were saying continue your point, Janine, on that video.
Right. So the reason why I would have spoken to that video in particular is because you can hear the former Prime Minister so saying that you had to wait in DQH from 2 to 3 days. You also heard about checks being written. We know that that would have happened already. Currently, no, when it was the Deputy Prime Minister at the time. So we are seeing the style of the BLP continuing over and over again. It's no surprise. I just wanted us to go back first to remind ourselves, you know, the style of them, how they continue to operate in this country. They don't change. And that's the way how they continue to want to run this country. You were making a point earlier in regards to even the privatization of the bus service. And we can remember that the only time that this government tells the truth is when they forget to tell a lie. The 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 General Secretary of the Barbados Civil Party, Jerome, at the time would have came out and said, no, it's false. What the Minister of Finance is saying ran strong. And then in the middle of the week after that, when so many things were going on, Sanjay would have came out and stated, it's being sold. So people would not have picked up on that, because they always release statements when something is happening so that people pass by it, right? So it could be they feel they can escape around people. And that is what's happening in this country. I just want Barbadians to continue to stay alert, be aware. These people this is one of the worst governments in the history, whether it's B or DRC, in the history of this country. And we cannot allow them to run on for another time. They have 7 years of famine already. We can't do it anymore.
Can't do it anymore. And very well said. And thank you, Pedro, for also reminding me that the agricultural sector is also another sector that they said is that it is a risk. It's a risk. The IMF is saying that all of these these state-owned enterprises, they undermine. They are the way they're operating at a loss, and therefore they're undermining the austerity program that they have for Barbados. Barbadians, are we listening? I know we just ate the turkey and the ham and the chicken and the black cake and all of that, and we're just coming back from all of that. Understand that they've just rolled out for you what they're going to do with the transport board. Get ready for QEH. Get ready for the health service, which already is privatized, as somebody says. Because you go to the QEH, you're not getting through, you end up going private, right? You go down to what's it called, Sandy Crest, or you go to the other one there where that you were describing there. I can't remember. Emergent care. You go and they spend each time you turn up. Once you turn up, you know that about $200 and something coming out of your pocket just for them to look at you. Plus you have to pay, for all the prescriptions, medicine and all that. So it's already, I agree with you, it's already privatized, but it's going to get worse because there are people who just cannot afford that. And so according to the IMF, it's undermining the government. The government paying for those social services undermines the austerity plan that the IMF has for Barbados. That's what that article said. They will have to refute it. Yeah. But let's go to February, Dave, unless is there anything else in January you wanted to touch on? Let's see January, Dave, again, if there's anything that we left out. Those of you who are watching, make your notes. We only have an hour left now to go through the other months. We spent so much already on January. Yes, and so we're right. And we saw some criticisms were being made of the government spending priorities. And that has not changed, right? How they're spending money, not changed. Let's go to February. February, we're looking at freedoms and governance, right? Now, I'll just make a little mention of the cybercrime legislation. So those concerns were brought up again February 2025. You and I know, Janine, everybody knows that if the government had their way with that cybercrime bill, this show would not be on the air right now. Period. This would not be happening right now. This would be off the air based on what is in that piece of legislation. And those concerns came up again February 2025. All right. As far as we know, the bill is still sitting there in the Senate. They haven't done anything about it yet. But I guarantee you, Janine and viewers, that as soon as they believe, or that in their hands, when they get back into government, that cybercrime bill is going to be fully passed and proclaimed. And that's where they're going to be able to shut down shows like this once they get that opportunity to get back into government. Very important. We've been struggling with the cybercrime bill because it started in February 2024. It was brought up again in February 2025. Right? But Janine, you have a quick word on the cybercrime bill before we move to the next one?
Yeah, I was just trying to remember if the minister at the time was removed. She was removed in February, or she was still the minister at the time.
Which one is this?
This would have been for the cybercrime bill. It should have been. She was in St. Michael's South Central.
Okay. This is Marsha Cattle.
Yes, I was trying to remember because then it will connect.
Yes, you're correct. There was a cabinet reshuffle in February as well, and we're going to get there. Yes, but you were making the point. You were linking that to the cybercrime.
Yes, to say that is the reason it would have changed the minister. Maybe she could have been not for it really, but persons are afraid of the prime minister, so maybe that's the reason. Then they would have brought it up during that time. I just wanted to be sure first before I made that assumption that if she was there.
Yes. So we're gonna get to that. But we're gonna get to that as but on February 8th, we're going to move on from the cybercrime legislation, just so that you remember that once they go back into power, after they call election, right now you don't hear them saying a word about the cybercrime bill. It's the same way that they didn't say anything about these state-owned enterprises that were risky for them, risky for them and undermining the IMF austerity plan. They said nothing about those things. All right. But then they just pounced it on you. And that's what's going to happen with the cybercrime. Yeah. Now, this particular article that occurred in February was an article concerning Mr. Franklin. And he had some concerns how the bill was being handled between the lower house and the upper house. And so he had made some this article says that they basically said that Mr. Franklin's concerns were not warranted, right? And they gave us let me just read the beginning of it. I can't because it's not at the top. Yes, thank you. Beyond the news, inside the issues, Caswell Franklin's submission. This is a Senate cybercrime bill report. Okay, Caswell Franklin's submission that the Senate was not authorized to send the cybercrime bill 2024 to a committee was rejected. This was one of the revelations of the brief prepared for the chairman of the Joint Select Committee on Governance and Policy Matters, Mr. Edmund Hinkson. The brief was prepared by the Clerk of Parliament and was one of the two major reports considered by the Senate in its weekly meeting on Wednesday, the 5th, February 2025. A joint committee is one made up of members and so on and so forth. So this is what, if you are listening to the Master Week show, Caswell Franklin, in 2024, kept saying that the bill should not be brought. It was in at the lower house, and then it went to the Senate and passed in the Senate, and then they sent it to a joint select committee. And his view was that it should not have gone back to the joint select committee because it was already passed, and they rejected that. And so that's just one of the things that occurred with the cybercrime bill in February, and we wanted to bring that to you. But something else that happened, Dave, if you have that article, it's on February 8th. A regional economist challenged the inflation figures that's been being put out by the Central Bank of Barbados. Now, a lot of us, we believe that those figures are being quoted. We believe that the governor of the central bank seems as though it would appear as though he would have to tell us if it's so or not so. But to us, based on what he's presenting and what we are experiencing, they're not adding up, right? They're not, there's no correlation here. However, there's an economist outside of Barbados. And again, I love to read these articles because they love to say that we're making these things up. All right. So Dave could make this a little bigger for us so we can read it. Folks, are we sharing? Are we sharing the live? Are we sharing the live? Okay. A regional economic analyst has suggested there may be a disconnect between inflation rates and the cost of living pressures being experienced by Barbadian households. Now, when Mr. Anthony Wood puts this out, writes an article or, make a comment, they think, oh, here he goes again. These people don't like the prime minister. The economists in Barbados, all of them that's speaking out, right? They don't like the prime minister. But this person, this is according to the head of economic research unit at First Citizens Bank, Vanji Bagu Ramatan. This gap, she says, may arise from how inflation rate is calculated, changes in consumer preferences over time, and wages not increasing in line with inflation. This has nothing to do with our economists here in Barbados. Bagu Ramratan, the main presenter at a webinar on the economic outlook for Barbados in 2025 on Friday, right, explained this was on February 8th, 2025. Explained how inflation is measured in Barbados. And I'll read it. I know that it might be, a little much for people to get it, but the retail price index measures changes in the retail prices of a fixed basket of goods and services, and it should represent spending patterns of the majority of households in Barbados. That's how the inflation rate is calculated. They use the basket to find the percentage change, and it is also weighted. And she explained that in the seminar. And if Dave goes down a little bit more, if I could read a little bit more about it. So the RPI in Barbados is weighted. Food and non-alcoholic beverages accounted for the largest, about 22%, followed by housing, water, and electricity, things like that, 50%. And then transport is a third, which is 13.5%, right? She suggested that the disconnect may stem from the calculation of the inflation rate, as the items make up the basket may not accurately reflect current realities. And we have to wonder if the governor of the central bank saw this report, not written by a Barbadian, not a Barbadian economist, but they are able to explain to us what we are feeling. So we read what we see in the newspaper about what is happening. They're saying the economy is surging, the economy is doing great, and and we're seeing the inflation rates that they're producing, but we are not feeling it. There's a disconnect. Here comes an economist, Janine, who is now able to explain to us exactly why this is. And this was from February 8th, 2025. Janine, any thoughts on that? And anybody in the comments?
Right, sorry, my StreamYard was just now. Yes, please.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that persons are this person who wrote this is not the only person. They would have been most recently when I took a trip recently. Other persons from the Caribbean are looking and seeing the issues that Barbadians are having. Funny enough, everybody doesn't think that we're living such a great life here, because I know that's what is perceived when the Prime Minister travels. People think that, oh, we're living such lavish lives, but people can see it. We are not. We are feeling it. Even for Christmas time, people had a great Christmas, because they were with their families, they were with their friends, and didn't have the usual Christmas that they'd be able to have and go and buy certain things that they would have usually bought, not overpricing themselves. I would have seen interview on Christmas Eve where a lady said, oh, she's not even going to buy the Farmer's Choice ham this year. She's going to look for a much cheaper ham. So things that people will normally do, I know people say that people overspend at Christmas time, but that might be the only time that people, really, everybody has a time where they like to buy up and shop up for themselves. Some people might be their birthday. I mean, a particular time in the year, some people love October, so let people enjoy when they can. But certainly not, this Christmas wasn't as merry as for some, but people may do and may they marry the marriage that they could have with what they had. So this article is definitely a day-to-day of how people live here, of the things that people feel, and I totally agree with every single thing that this person would have stated.
Yeah. And Janine, this person, it seems like, because they're at First Citizens Bank, which is in Barbados. The article, if it goes to the top of it, it says regional. And I think because though she might be working in Barbados, she's not Barbadian, right? So it says in the first paragraph there, the first line, it is a regional economist. And I think Barbadians, this is something that I think that we need to take comfort in, that we're not making up what we're experiencing, Janine, because when you listen to the central bank governor, you begin to wonder, is he talking about Barbados? Is it the same country? And here it is that we have a regional economist is explaining to us what it is that we are experiencing, and they're able to say, listen, this is exactly what is happening to you. And you're going to tell me that the central bank governor doesn't know this? Huh? You think that the central bank governor doesn't know this?
Most certainly, but he's more interested in looking maybe cute with his videos. So his videos are very nice on social media. They're very captivating for persons to watch. So maybe that might be the focus point instead of the development of Barbados and their day-to-day livings and the squeeze that every Barbadian are feeling every day.
Every day. Well, Dave, but I saw this article and I wanted, because I don't think that sometimes things happen and we quickly skip over it. And I wanted us to remember this regional economist here who is basically telling us explaining to us, what we are experiencing in Barbados and how it's calculated, right? Now, the next thing is that happened here in February was a cabinet reshuffle. All right. So there were two ministers who resigned in this year. And I don't know if Dave has any articles or anything there on that. You could double check for me. Two ministers resigned. It was Corey, right? Corey Lane, not Corey Lane. Am I saying that right? Yeah. MP Corey Lane.
Yes.
And you also had Marsha Cadell. Now, even before Corey Lane resigned on February 19th, he was the article that I read today says that he was assisting the police, right, with an inquiry. The public was never told what that was. So this happened February. This is the article, right? February 19, 2025. Right? So we're bringing it up. Share up the live, guys. There's a crime prevention minister Lane assisting police in inquiry, right? Minister in the office of the Attorney General with responsibility for crime prevention, correlating aid in an investigation into an undisclosed matter. So they're saying undisclosed. On the streets, everybody knows what it is, right? I'm not going to say it on here because you are right. Everybody's smiling. They know what the matter is, right? It's undisclosed in this article, and we're reading what it says, but everybody knows. Don't pretend you all don't know, right? The minister was observed arriving at the station accompanied by attorney at law Michael Lashley, SC. The nature of the inquiry and the specific reason for Lane's presence at the police station remain unclear. Neither the minister nor his counsel have made any public statements regarding the visit at this time. Now, what we have to note is that shortly after he tendered his resignation, we don't know, did he decide to resign, Miss Butcher, or was he pushed? I don't know. What was a court matter? We don't know. It's undisclosed. Although, as I said, everywhere I go, people telling me exactly what it is. They got it. But your thoughts on this before we move on. And I see Miss McLean is getting herself ready to come in. Yes, go ahead, Janine. Any thoughts on this?
First, I want to say is very glad that you're doing this show so that people can remember. Because, you know, as life goes on, we have so many personal things going on within our lives. And then everything in Barbados, every minute is simple as being walked back. And it's something that is happening that they're doing so quickly, bringing it up on us. So I think that this is very important for persons to be able to remember these two shows, Barbados, the Loyal Opposition, everybody. At this point, so these two shows are very important. So tune in. But in regards to this particular matter, we can see everybody's just basically singing for their supper at this point. The talk is on the streets. To me, Barbadians are even more investigators than the police themselves from time to time, because the issues are playing as they are on Instagram and social media. But that's all I have to say on this issue for now. When you move on to the Marcia Callen issue, I'll have something to say on that one.
Yeah. And you know, they've had so many issues with the court, you know, involving the court and investigation and the police. Let's be real. This BLP government, so many of the, you know, I mean, what do you think of it? It's quite a few of them. Quite a few of them. And they're all along a certain line. All right? A certain line. We would remember from the year before, it was Neil Rowe who was on charge for rape. And that was in the newspaper, I can say it. You know, he's now since been acquitted. But it's, you know, he was on charge.
True farmers, excuse me, don't forget he was acquitted, but then he blamed one of his same colleagues of laying on him. Let's not forget that part.
He blamed one of his colleagues. Well, this is just a lot of craziness that was happening, you know. We're going to touch on that because we're going to get to that month when he was blaming his colleague as well, right? And somebody says that they're a complete disgrace, but they want to think that everybody else have a problem, you know. Everybody else have a problem, but except that. But we're not going to forget that. But then we had Marcia Callen, right? So he resigned and Marcia Callen resigned. And she says that when principles do not align, right?
Yeah, a minister. Yeah, I think it's when principles do not align, a minister has a duty to resign. She has reached such a point. Have you heard the famous song? So that's how I remember that all the time.
We had a song. Dave, you have the song there?
That was it.
Yeah. Right. When principles do not align, a minister has a right to resign. And so we made it into a song. Dave, if you can find it and put it up for us, and we play that. But, you know, one has to wonder, she still believes that, because no, she is touting everything that the prime minister is saying, and this is the best government and the government that listens to the people. What principles was she speaking of? What has changed is the
I
question.
think that's nothing necessarily changed. I think maybe that is what she feels, but at the same time, she wants to keep her job as an MP and maybe wants to run again for South Central. So this is things that she maybe has to say at the same time. But maybe
Yeah.
that's the way that she really felt, because remember we were saying earlier that the cabinet was reshuffled, and that was the same time they had brought back up the cybercrime bill again, and then they put on Jonathan Reed. So everything is really connecting.
Yes. Yes. And then while Dave, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find that. We look at what happened with Senator Crystal Haynes. I mean,
Yes,
that's
but
unfortunate.
I'm saying that this is not the first time Mark should have left, which is true. We can't forget that either. That is something that I have completely forgotten, that is not the first time that she would have left the cabinet.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
She left before. Yeah. Let me see if Miss McLean is able to come in. Dave, give me an indication if you're going to be able to find that, or we need to move on. Okay. Miss McLean, can you give us an indication if you can come on? Give me a thumbs up. I can't hear you. Thank you. Good evening, Miss McLean.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good evening. How are you?
We are
Hi.
great.
Hi. How are you doing, my girl? Looking all glamorous, Marcia, isn't she?
Yes, yes, very, very.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now,
Blessed Christmas to both of you and to the audience. I believe in the 12 days of Christmas, so we're in the Christmas season. So blessed Christmas.
thank you, thank you. Well, we were looking at the cabinet reshuffle that occurred in. It was announced on February 26th, and we looked at MP Corey Lane, and we talked about Marsha Cattle, and then it was a series of them. February 25th, they told Crystal Haynes that they wanted her seat. So she had to give up her seat on February 25th, 2025. So that's where we're at. We're now at Crystal Haynes. Any thoughts on that, Miss McLean, and on
Well,
the cabinet reshuffle?
I think I would comment first on the question about resignations, the whole issue of push or jump. And if I could use a corporate analogy, a company typically wanting to end a relationship with an employee, especially a senior employee or somebody who is in the public domain often, typically gives that person the option to resign. That doesn't mean they're fired. They weren't fired, but they're allowed the dignity of resigning. And when you look at some of the issues in there, basically, I believe that in the case of Mr. Lane, Mr. Corey Lane, and Marsha Cattle, I think, as was pointed out, she would have been removed. She exited the cabinet more than once. And I think those were decisions of the Prime Minister to end the relationship. Clearly, when we look at the Senator Haynes, that was her resignation would have been demanded. She would have been removed, and they dressed it up in terms of replacement and all of that. What it says is that you have situations where persons either found themselves in what I would describe as untenable situations. You had court matters, and as you said, while we did not get details, Barbados is a small place. And so we had those issues. And on top of that, remember that Mr. Lane, with all that was promised before he became an MP, would have been a very vocal member of what I would call civil society. But that did not translate into success as a minister in terms of executing programs. And similarly, with all the reshuffles we had, where people moved because of failure.
Mhm.
And I think you would reach the point where the point I believe has been reached, that you're shuffling one minister from a position of failure to another position of failure even to communicate with the public on his or her portfolio. Think of the former Minister of Education, Kay McConney. Minister McConney has moved. She's been in 3 or 4 ministries by now in terms of portfolio. Do we hear anything about her? Does she speak on anything now? She's in the Prime Minister's office, I believe, responsible for something economic. And I don't say this to kind of mock it. I don't remember what it is. If you or Janine can tell me, if you can tell me what her portfolio is, I would give you $5. That may not be enough money, but in all seriousness, Marcia, so with those reshuffles, they have been occasioned or forced by non-performance, but the non-performance continues.
Yes. Thanks for that context, Ms. McLean, as a former MP, you'll be able to give
Not
that.
MP. I was not an MP. I was a senator.
I mean,
was never elected.
minister,
So.
minister and senator. Dave, can you go ahead and play the clip you have on the screen? No? Okay, it's not a clip. All right. So we're going to move on because time is against us. If we can see the next, we can see the slide and move on from. I think we could just move on from February and move quickly into March. And March is where we saw, the whole issue started to come up about land. Right in March, land heritage, and we had protests. All right, and this is where I'm telling you, we the whole town civic society controversy, came on the street. It started in February, really started in February, because thank God for Mr. Ralph Thorne, and thank God for Senator Crystal Haynes. They brought everything to light. And we hit the streets in March. And anybody remember being at that protest? Who was at that protest? Miss McLean? Anybody out there listening was at that protest? Yes, in the whole town. That was really, really something else. And I think it shocked them. That one shocked them. Really shocked them. And we would have had in March, we had the roadside parliaments that we were doing, and then we had a roadside parliament that culminated in the whole town protest march. Okay. And we also had in the month of March, it's when we also found out about the transfer that occurred, where they took up the people's land, take up Barbadian land and gave it to the Afro-Exim Bank. And all of that was in that time period as well. Somebody said, Mimi, I was there. What is it that you remember about that, Miss McLean, that entire period? The whole town, and also the land, gifting of the land to
I think for me, the two examples or the two situations are examples of government acting, I would call it recklessly, because in the case of Whole Town, you are looking to transform an extremely important historic area in this country. No consultation, and essentially for a purpose that is of lesser value and importance to me, because we cannot judge everything by money. Now here you're looking at the Afro-Exim Bank, And I cannot understand why the government of Barbados, 166 square miles, under 300,000 people living on the island, approximately, with the kind of size economy, would look to transfer that kind of value, that land of that value, again, without consultation. That is part of our patrimony. That's part of our heritage, our history, and important to Barbadians. And in doing so, you also have to ask yourself, how does that decision line up against other decisions of lesser magnitude in terms of dollar value, but which are of critical importance to this country? And even though I will use two examples because the timelines may not necessarily coincide, right? But here you have the African Bank is part of a financial institution that engages many of the 54 countries in Africa. And when you think in terms of the assets of the bank, the activities of the bank, yes, I have no difficulty, because as a Pan-Africanist, I have no difficulty with Africa and the Caribbean, or Africans outside of Africa, connecting economically, socially, and otherwise. But when a small government makes a decision, it has to balance its limited resources against the specific needs of that country. And I'll give you an example. Up to now, I don't know that we have had an accurate value for that land, but it is a lot of money. And it certainly is more in terms of value than what the government was negotiating with a cooperative to take over the sugar industry. In that instance, they're talking about $16 million investment. And Marcia, in looking at it, you ask yourself, why is Maxine comparing the two of these? I'm comparing the two of these because at the heart of our economy, at the heart of agriculture, is sugar production. Crop production, food crop production is there's a symbiotic relationship, I think that's an appropriate word, between production of yams, sweet potatoes, whatever, those kinds of crops, vegetables, and so on, and the production of sugar. There is also a critical relationship between the rum industry and the production of molasses in Barbados. And so if the government appreciates those things, and if the government, more importantly, subscribes in any tangible way to something that they have been mouthing for a long time, we have been hearing about Black enfranchisement, economic enfranchisement of the people. But yet we are going to create a situation where we take away some of our land, arguing that it is an incentive to attract a bank's headquarters in Barbados and whatever else, because we still don't know for sure, versus an opportunity by this administration to put in the hands of former sugar workers, current sugar workers, and the average Barbadian who is part of a cooperative and by extension, based on the plans, part of the credit union movement and the cooperative movement generally, including the financial cooperatives, an opportunity to empower those people in a serious way. And it has fallen, well, I don't know if it's fallen through. The Prime Minister, as Minister of Finance, has never really said much about it. And my interpretation of that, and I would stress my interpretation of that, is that she did not support it wholeheartedly, if at all, and therefore cannot come to me and say, look, I seriously want to make a difference in the lives of poor Black people. And I make no apologies for using that expression, because a sugar worker in Barbados is not well to do. Most of them are probably not even, quote unquote, middle class, and certainly not upper middle class. So when we look at these things, we can't only look at them in relation to the immediate or the narrow impact and purpose, but we have to look at it and contextualize it against other decisions or lack of decisions by this administration.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Ms. McLean. We're gonna rush through because we literally want to have people calling in at 9 o'clock. I will say before we move on to April, that one of the significant things that happened in March, and I'm just going to say it, we can't even comment on it really until after 9, is that Mr. Thorne delivered, one of the, everybody's saying, I mean, it's a historic response, we have to say, to the budget. It was in March, wasn't it, Ms. McLean?
Yes, the budget is in March because you have to have that approved to allow government to be able to spend.
It was March, definitely. I'm looking at my notes. In the month of March, where he spoke, it was about approximately 10 hours, 2 sittings, that Mr. Thorne stood up on his feet. And I asked him later, how did you manage? He said, I have water and bananas. And that is something we can always talk about that a little later because the time is gone from us. But that is what happened in March as well. Okay, Mr. Thorne in his marathon speech, and it's historic. I went and looked at it. Nobody else in the Caribbean has been able to accomplish that. And sometimes we make it seem as though, here he goes again. But he would have had to prepare and with his team and to make that kind of valuable presentation. Let's move to the month of April, Dave, because of time. We've got to move on to the month of April. Dave, we're there. In the month of April, one of the things that happened is actually we saw there was a minimum wage increase, and that's when you got the 17 cents increase. You remember the 17 cents? And the unions thought that it was an insult, right? The minimum wage in Barbados increased, and it went up 17 cents, okay? And so people were they said, the union said it was an insult to the people. And at that particular time, we'll just make a general comment because we're so behind on this. Ms. McLean, any comments on this?
No, I think the concern, nobody would, no reasonable person, I would say, would object to an increase in minimum wage. The concern that I certainly have, and I believe a lot of Barbadians would have, is what employers do. Because if wages are increased, but hours are reduced, the person can be at the same position or worse off. And that is one of the concerns that people have. I think what should happen is that there's also, I see these things as a two-sided equation, so to speak. When the wage goes up, the employer is going to increase depending on what percentage of his or her full expenses are wages. You'll find that they would increase their products and services in terms of what they charge you and I as they charge me as a consumer. So government has to think in terms of ways to reduce the cost of living, to make it easier so that even if there's that very minimal increase or no increase, that they are able to reduce the cost of living on the other side of the equation. So people talk about reduction of VAT, a promise that was made by this administration from the get-go.
Yeah. And as you say, everything, they correlate. It goes hand in hand. Let's move on to May, Dave. And I see Janine is back. Dave, if we could move on to May, and while we're doing that, any thoughts you have, Janine, on the 17 cents increase that happened in April Janine, as a young person?
Yeah, not necessarily. There's nothing much that we can do with it because another tax was also added on to the to your paycheck as well. So there's no like hip hip hooray.
So you're saying that they gave the 17 cents and then they took it off with another tax?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
I was just saying something, for the party's anniversary. That's what that was at the time.
yes, yes, yes. There is something that we missed in March. Is it because I'm rushing so much? And it was the Jonathan Chase walk that we had against crime. And that's something that I'm hoping tonight that we'll be able to ask the commissioner of police really exactly what is the number of fatalities or murders, homicides, because he is saying that there's a decrease and everything else online is saying something else. It might be that we're not calculating right, but we would like to hear his numbers. And that's something that I want to use some articles to prove that a little later on. But we didn't make mention of that that happened in March as well. Jonathan Chase's there was his memorial, and we also had, before that we had the walk. So yeah, that happened in March. Okay, so if May, we're talking about unsafe public sector safety, and I'm rushing. Where people were concerned because remember there was a nurse who had gotten was basically
Assaulted. Yeah, there was more than one incident. You had an incident at the hospital, at a polyclinic, I believe. Not sure they both were in May, but that's the kind of assaults on public officers in health facilities.
Yeah, there was also in St. Philip as well, outside of
Oh, yes.
the home up here as well.
Could you repeat, Janine?
No, I was saying there was also one outside the district hospital in St. Philip as well.
One outside, yes. I think somebody did they actually stab the nurse, or they tried to stab the nurse?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were both. Yeah, somebody said they were both in May, and so and the question is, have we made those places safer? Is a workplace, have they done anything in terms of I remember Caswell was talking a lot about that, about the nurses, and whether they've made they've done anything in terms of the standards of safety at these places. I'm reading the comments section here. Yeah. All right, Dave, let's move on to June. I'm rushing too much. I'm looking at the time. What has happened in May? Who remembers what has happened in May? Dave, go back to May, please. Something has happened.
We had a by-election in May.
We had a by-election in May. Come to the front of the class, Janine. We had a by-election in May, and where Chad Blackman actually he won that election, and I've been hearing from the people in St. James. Am I going to say North? Is it right?
No.
North.
Right. St. James North. I'm hearing from people there saying that nothing really has changed for them. They might have started a road and they stopped it just as for the election, and they just did half of the road and the rest isn't done. I've been told that there are still areas where people are, they promised that they were going to put up lighting, and the lighting is not up. In fact, there's an elderly woman who was assaulted, and the reports are that it's in that area. She got off the bus and she, there's not enough lighting there. So nothing really has changed in that community. I don't know if Miss McLean has a quick word on that. I know Dave is looking for something to play. Go ahead, Miss McLean.
A quick word on the violence or the by-election and the promises. Well, I suppose the things are connected. No, well, we had that by-election. As was predicted, the former incumbent has now been named our newest High Commissioner to the UK, Mr. Edmund Hinkson. That had been rumored long before, and I suppose that was a trade-off to replace him. He was very briefly a cabinet minister, if you remember. If I remember correctly, he would have been responsible for immigration at some point.
Yes.
But that didn't last very long. So that would have been prior. His change in status would have been prior to 2025. But we had that by election, and to my mind, it was an opportunity where a number of promises were made, and as you correctly pointed out, they have not been kept, and we are seeing the consequences of that as well. And we are also in a position because the new MP has been made a minister. Well, he was a minister before, if I remember, in the Senate. Yes, he was a minister before. So he is now we are now in a position as citizens to observe his performance in the two capacities, as a politician, MP, and as minister. I am sorry to say I can't attribute any major success to him. I just realized that half a year has gone already because my election was in May. So, a lot was promised in education, and so there was a lot of work outstanding for him to pick up on. So I await the results of, the newly elected MP and relatively newly minted minister.
Yes. And go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I wanted to mention as well in regards to continue on what Ms. McLean was saying. Some people might argue in May we were receiving the $300. And also then after that, they would have gifted us a very special gift directly the next morning after the election of the gas prices going up. So we had a wonderful meeting.
I love how you said that. So they gave us the $300 just before the by-election. And then right after the election, the gas prices went up. So they took it back.
Most definitely.
Wow. Well, we have on the screen Miss Dejean, Felicia Dejean, and she was the candidate for the DLP. And you also had Miss there was another candidate, Stephanie Williams,
yeah,
was also one of the opposition candidates. Alex was also
Mitchell. His name is Mitchell.
Yes, Alex Mitchell. Thank you, guys. Alex Mitchell was also a candidate, and we have a video here that was created by the loyal opposition because a song was written by a loyal opposition member for Mr. John. Dave, just indicate whether you can play the song or not.
Ain't shy. Had fancy jobs, the suit looked not too bad. He talked real slick when the media came, but on the streets, he'll forget our names. Potholes deep and the taps run dry. We call his name, but he won't reply. In 7 years, not a thing has changed. Now the people rise, 'cause we've been estranged. Time for a change, let the old ways go. We see the light in the one we know. She walks with us and feels our pain. Felicia Dejean is her name. Vision strong and hands that heal. She listens well and she keeps it real. So gather round, everyone come forth. Vote for John and St. James North. Chad's got stats and fancy plans.
Yeah, that's the memory of that. And Mr. John, we have to say that she, she put up a good fight, and but the money and everything, I don't think she could stand up to all of that. And the $300 that was paid, I mean, I don't know,
I think, Marcy, if I could quickly, on the positive side, what we saw was Ms. Dujon was a candidate who was determined to meet their constituents, to understand their needs. I mean, she canvassed in that short period of time that constituency in a very substantial and substantive way, meeting people, hearing their issues, and literally going door to door, understanding the needs of people. And I think the impression that she would have left with the constituents was that here was somebody who was serious about them. We also have to recognize that that constituency for a long time was held by the Barbados Labour Party. What we should perhaps analyze, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, would be to look, and I think Mr. David Gill would have done some of this work.
Hi, good night.
Oh, okay. Miss McLean, give me a second there. Give me a second. We don't have. That's just how the system works. So the call came through.
No, that's
hold your
fine.
thought there a minute. Caller, welcome.
Hi, good night to the royal opposition. Good night to Comrade Max and Comrade Butcher. First of all, I just want to say New Year, Happy New Year coming up to you all, and wish. Hello?
Yes, you're cutting out. You're cutting out. Just
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you now. Yes.
Okay, well, have a blessed New Year coming up to you all. Let's just keep everybody on the toes. My takeaways for the year review.
The call seems to have dropped out. I don't know if Marcia is with us. Janine.
No.
We're going to extend the health sector. As you know, Miss Weeks, this government would have bought $313.6 million savings for extension. I believe that money could have been used, in my humble view, in where they have given away land, not only to a very rich bank, and by extension, the chairman of that bank was lauded with one of the highest honors in this land. For what did he do? I don't know. Now, just like Comrade Max, I'm all for Pan-Africanism and equality of all, but you have to put your home drums first. And this government does not do that. You basically, as the late Walter Ball would have said many years ago, don't be surprised if one day you find out that the land that we have toiled and built the landscape is basically swept from under you. I mean, there's so much you can touch on, but I'm going to leave it for the others. I just want to continue to encourage you, Miss Weeks, and the local opposition. Michelle, miss you much. Or Josephine. And hope to hear Michelle soon again. And all the others have been there for the night. I love everyone. Continue to do the good work in 2026 and beyond. And let's keep building back Barbados to what it once was. Let's continue to support Comrade Leader Ralph Thorne in all his great endeavors. I bless you all and have a beautiful night.
Yes, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you. And all the best to you in 2026.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, Miss McLean, I hope you can remember what you were
Yeah,
saying.
I was there scribbling it so I don't forget. No, what we were looking at the results in the by-election and contrasting the effort that was made by Miss Dujon and her, the team that worked with her on the campaign and the results. So I was making the point that St. James North has been held by the BLP for a long time. And I also made reference, I believe I might have heard him speak to this on the program, Mr. David Gill, who likes to do statistical analysis. And he would have been looking at, remembering the point that I made that it was a BLP held seat for a long time. It is important to look at the turnout and the support. And this is something that we have to understand and look at as we move from that by election into the imminent general election, and if you want to do an analysis of elections past and performance, that those statistics would make for some interesting analysis.
Yes. Janine, I know that you have to run off and leave us.
Janine has a hot date.
Not tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have to leave you guys at this time, but hopefully I'll be back on tomorrow night to continue. But it was really good to be here with you, Maxine and Mercy, and you guys, loyal opposition. Continue to keep your eyes open, keep your ears to the ground, and let's continue to fight for Barbados.
And I want you to continue the hard work. She's a hardworking young woman, Marcia. So, but
yes,
you know that. You know that. So, and I want to say thank you for all you've been doing. It is good to see people in your age group really getting involved in matters that will impact the quality of life that we will have and they will have when older people like myself, are less active or disappear. I mean, So thanks a lot and all the best, and look forward to hear you tomorrow.
Thank you for your understanding as well. Everybody, Maxine also gives me a lot of wisdom. She's always listening to me when I call, and Mercy as well. I always humbugging them, but it's all good.
This is called succession and transfer of experience and so on. I had mentors in my day, and I think it is necessary that we do this, this intergenerational collaboration, cooperation, exchange. So, and say hi to your mom for me.
Most certainly. Good night, everybody.
Yes. Good night. Thank you so much, Janine, for stopping by. We appreciate it. Thank you. We were at June and we were talking about the increase in June. There was just an increase in crime and just public fear. And we had a march, I remember, called we do not feel safe. And that was a march that we did, and people were just not satisfied with the crime strategy. The question is, we're here in December. This is 2025. Do we feel safe? There's a caller on. Let me go to the caller, and then I see somebody in the room with us. Somebody in the room with us. But anyway, let me get to the caller first. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Welcome and good night, Marcia. I'm Maxine. This is Juju. First, I welcome, giving you all a warm welcome to New Year's Day and all years also.
Yes.
Second, I understand the 19th is election of January and Mia is bluffing.
But hold a second. This is you read my mind because I have it up on the screen as a question mark. So you are making a statement that election is on January 19th, or you're asking a question?
I understood and I said to my phone that January 19th is election. So I would like to know if Mia bluffing or she for real.
What do you think?
I feel she bluffing.
You think she's bluffing? Why you think she's bluffing?
Because she can't hold the election and then get Ralph on what he's supposed to get in January. She need to give Ralph on what he needs on the end of January, because that is when he give her to give him all election and whatever papers he have to get from her. She is bluffing.
You think she's bluffing? Okay. Well, we're going to discuss
Yes.
that. We are going to discuss that, caller. Let's talk about. I have you on the air. No, I have you on the call. What about the 2025? What issue was the most concerning for you in 2025?
My concern is when we went on the march for whole town.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is for the African Bank.
Yes.
Yes, those are the two. She should not give away land to no foreigners out there, no Africans, to come and work the voodoo here in Barbados.
Okay.
They don't want that there here in Barbados. She voodoo and all she voodoo out in Barbados. Too much voodoo she got in Barbados. We don't want it.
I see.
We don't want it.
Judy, but Judy, I'm sure you know that all Africans, as all Barbadians, don't do voodoo, right? You know that.
But she got to Africa, and every one of them Africans that do voodoo.
No man,
I will
Judy.
cry.
No man,
Because
Judy.
when I play
Please, no, don't say that, ma'am. I can't let you say that.
But Judy,
I cannot let you say that about my African brothers and sisters.
Movie is reality. Movie is reality in the world. So they show you what's going on in Africa.
Judy,
my dear, I have been to several African countries.
Back to this election thing, though. You think it's a bluff? Well, we're going to talk about it some more, and so listen and see if you agree. But Judy, thank you for calling. All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. We want no more voodooism. We want she call election and stop bluffing, and let me get she out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you. And good night to everybody. Marcia, have a great night also too.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
You, Marcia, and everybody else, the loyal opposition.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Now, Miss McLean, this whole thing about this been going around about this election on January 19th, and I got up this morning. Somebody sent it to me. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, it seems, what is this all about?
I have received that multiple times, and I will say this. First, the whole publicity or the public, for all my life, and I started voting at 18, and I don't have to hide it. That was 51 years ago. All right, Marcia? Every time there's an election, there's a secrecy around the date. And so that you have a sense that elections are pending, yes. But you're not going to hear from the marish and the parish. I like that expression, that the election is going to be on January 19th or whatever. That's the first thing. So for the Prime Minister to release that, or a date, or for that date to be flying around, I think it is just to get people worked up. And one scenario is that having put it out there and it doesn't come to pass, people would dismiss it and so on. But beyond that, let us look at the conduct of elections in Barbados. Those things, we are supposed to be a rules-based, law-abiding society. Right? The elections are governed, they're addressed in the Constitution, they are addressed in the Representation of People Act. There's another piece of legislation, I will find the exact title before the end of the show and share it with you. Elections are supposed to be conducted by a body that is supposed to be, and I'm using a lot of supposed to be, the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. That is by law an independent body. We have seen some concerns expressed about correspondence coming from the Cabinet Office that should in fact come from the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, from the Electoral Office. The cabinet should not be involved in that. Now, I will speak very frankly if I have the time, Marcia, because
Probably not too long because I have somebody else in there. Dr. Ferdinand actually
okay, but
has
no,
one.
if that's the case, all I would say is that, well, let me paraphrase. I say to Barbadians, go and look at the electoral and boundaries, um, go and find out how that is structured, how it operates. There's the Barbados Representation of the People Act, and there's an amendment to it in 2007. There is also another piece of legislation. I'm trying to find the name, which governs, but I will share it with you. I'll send Dave the name. So in essence, if we are to continue to function according to the law, that those things should obtain. And if that is the case, that date does not make sense to me. It may be February 19th or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, there are a number of factors, including whether there is in place, and I would leave this with you, a duly appointed Electoral and Boundaries Commission at this time. If we have time and you want to ask me why I say that, I will go into it. So I don't want to keep our surprise guests any longer, because I just worked out between surprise guests and what you said. Well, I don't think about surprise guests, but go ahead.
But I did ask him if he's ready, and okay, he is ready. And yes, welcome. This is really a surprise to us, and he's right there in Colombia. And look like you enjoying your Christmas decorations up and everything. Welcome, Dr. Ferdinand. This is a surprise.
Well, thank you so much, Marcia. I really appreciate your warm welcome. Let me first begin by disassociating myself with this older people that Maxine is speaking about. I am still very youthful. I don't know about Maxine, but I am still very youthful. And let me also take the opportunity to wish all of you, the loyal opposition, you, Maxine, and you, Marcia, in person, a very Merry Christmas. I know it's already passed, but a very Merry Christmas and a great, great New Year, a blessed New Year of 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I sent out a call for everybody to come on, and there's so many of our panelists are out sick or dealing with different matters and so on. So I'm really I was glad when you messaged and said I will jump on. It's great, and as you know, we're doing the review of the year, and without. I want us to jump into that, but just before you do that, to just give us a really brief synopsis of what's happening with you there in Colombia, because everybody wants to know, and not telling us too much of your business, but just give us a general comment on it. And then, what's your view on 2025? What's the most, you would say, important issue or public concern that you've had for 2025? So
well, first of all, my wife is still undergoing quite a lot of testing and awaiting reports from the testing that she's doing. She came down quite weak, actually, and as a result of that, she could not undergo the operations and surgeries immediately. The doctors have been going through a series of tests, a series of different consultations and so on together. And as a result of that, you have to take the time between the tests because they're quite strenuous for her in her current state. But she has improved in a number of areas, particularly when it comes to aspects of her blood work. She's improved tremendously there. She's still grossly underweight, and so there's a concern there in terms of her undergoing surgery within her current weight position. And some other aspects that she's really, just like I said, awaiting the reports from some of the tests, and still some tests to be done with consultations. So, but she's in good spirits. God has been very good to her, very good to us. we're resting a lot, which is something she desperately needed to have. And as a matter of fact, the doctors have indicated that based on the information they received when she came down, that it is a good thing she acted at this time. Otherwise, the situation with her could be a lot worse. So we're just awaiting those reports and undergoing further tests. But I want to say thanks to all of the loyal opposition for your ongoing prayers and for some of this financial support that we have received. And we're really grateful to God how good He has been to us, not only as a couple, but as a family. Because, of course, we're away from our children. It's the first time in our lives, period, that we have not been together as a family at Christmas. This is the very, very, very first time. This has never happened to us before. But thankfully for technology, technology has given us the opportunity to be able to interact with them, speak with them by video on Christmas Day, watch the unpacking of gifts and so on, and be a part of their lives nevertheless. So we just want to say thanks so very much to all of you.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
As it relates to the situation of 2025, I've been listening to the show really, and I must say that it becomes increasingly difficult to select any singular thing because there have been so many issues through 2025. And I want to share, if I can, Marcy, with you a couple of statements. Let me make the first one coming out of the book of Proverbs, which I guess you would expect with me as a Christian minister to at least quote one Bible verse at Christmas time. It's a verse found in the 18th chapter of Proverbs, verse 17. And the reason I pull this is because over the year we've heard a lot of things. We've heard things from the central bank governor of successive quarters of growth. We heard the prime minister talk about the country's state, as if nothing is wrong in the country. We've heard the Minister of State and the Ministry of Finance, share concerning the status of things in the country. Almost every bill that they have had to pull back sounded good when it was presented. But this verse says this, and I want to quote it from Proverbs 18:17, and maybe on the loyal opposition can make a note of it. It says this, and I'm going to quote it from two versions. This is the Living New International Version. Any story sounds true until someone tells the other side and sets the record straight. And the Message Bible puts it this way: the first speech in a court case is always convincing until the cross-examination starts. And that is what has happened with this administration down through the years. As recently as the matter to do with the bill that was brought with regards to the funding of entities from overseas, everything sounded great until it began to be examined. And this is where government has fallen flat on its face from January right down to December. And that's a reality. I was recently watching a video of some debates in the U.S. Senate. And one of my favorite speakers in the U.S. Senate is Senator Kennedy. I don't know if you ever watch him or if you have heard of him, but I enjoy the down-to-earth, common sense kind of way that he talks. And he made this statement, and I made a note of it. And Maxine, I hope I'm going to ask you to write it down because I think this could be one of your quotes in the days to come. It says that he said this, and I quote: "The brain is an amazing organ. It starts working in a mother's womb and doesn't stop until you get elected to Congress." And I want to say until you get elected to Parliament. Because it's like when people get into Parliament, they stop thinking. Number one, they stop realizing that there are representatives of the people and they're not there to replace the opinions and ideas of the people. They're there to have proper dialogue with their constituents concerning any ideas, thoughts, intentions of the government to see how the people feel about it. This government has done none of that. And I must say, it cannot be business as usual in politics in Barbados anymore. It simply has to come to an end. And in my view, one of the things that needs to end is that after a general election, parliamentarians no longer represent a party. They represent a constituency. And in that view, in having a constituency meeting, if you want to have a BLP meeting, a DLP meeting, or APP, so be it. But there should be a meeting of the parliamentary representatives with all the constituency members, whether they be Labour, Dem, APP, or otherwise. Things simply have to change. And what I've been observing over 2025 is that this government has representatives that go into parliament and make decisions without the knowledge of the people, the consultation of the people, and we only know about it after the fact. And this is the same government that campaigned in 2018 and in 2022 on two major components: transparency and accountability. Neither one of those has been forthcoming throughout 2025. And I want us to be very clear on this. Maxine, I heard you mention a little earlier about the promise of VAT. And we have heard nothing about that. I think you would be aware of the significant opposition that was raised when the former Minister of Finance, the Honorable Sinclair, was Minister of Finance. The Barbados Labour Party opposition opposed the increase of VAT from 15 to 17.5%. It was supposed to be a temporary measure, and then it was implemented permanently. And this administration opposed it. One would have expected that on assuming office, they would have reduced it back to 15%. And nothing has been coming in the past, 7 years? How many years has it been? 2018 to what? This is 2025, past 7 years. Nothing has been forthcoming. So to be honest with you, Marcia, as I have listened to the show from the time you started in January, February, March, April, May, June. It's difficult to identify any one singular thing because there are so many areas and so many areas of flaws and errors that I've found it difficult. The one thing I will quickly mention is all the promises that have been made and not kept. And I draw attention to the Prime Minister's speech for Christmas. I listened to it, and the Prime Minister spoke a lot about love, a lot about love. Yes. The one thing she did not make mention of at all.
Yeah, go ahead, Amon.
Yes, yes. Hang on, sir. There's a call that just came in.
Yeah, I'll give way. I'll give way. Please go ahead.
Hold that thought. We want to hear it. As I tell Miss McLean, write it down, okay?
Yeah.
But the caller, good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Same to you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good night to Maxine. Good night to you and that beautiful lady to the bottom of the screen. To look like Christmas and New Year's. Beautiful people. Beautiful people. You know what I called for? I think the same month of December, there is one body that gets up in the house. I think they were dealing with the same minimum wage. And they said that on the last decade, Maxine represent me in a court of law. Stand bail for me.
All right,
said that on the last decade, that y'all didn't do nothing. Y'all didn't do nothing for labor. Not labor, what do you call it? Minimum wage. Had my girlfriend Esther Boyer died? You remember Esther?
Yes.
She has not died.
She raised your hand, but I forget. I got you mute, so you can't raise your hand. Yes, and I think that Maxine should really come out and tell this administration when Esther Boyer was Minister of Labour and when she introduced the minimum wage. I was in Robert Street working. I was among those people that work in the mini marts, in the supermarkets, and the gas station, the whole, that kind of crowd of people. And they benefit from on the Esther Boyer. You say, no, sir? I remember Esther said, FU hours is from 8 to 4, and that clock said a second past 4. The day start again. Maxine represents me in a court of law.
All right, sir.
Stand bail for me. I don't know who she is, but we hear all kind of rumors. Why was she listening to us? And she could call in and represent herself. And to call it, I should represent herself, clear the air, and let these people know that it's not true. That all the last decade, that we didn't do nothing for this minimum wage, etc., etc., etc. My little quick one are gone. Now, the central bank. I can't remember my story. I think about 12 stories up. I remember one time going in there to visit a man.
Yeah.
That his son went to school at the Adams School. Everybody knew a man named Carl Moore. And I can't remember which floor he was on. But when he get to his office, I saw Barbados. Now, I was on the ground, you see here, for Christmas. The governor central bank is to his office and see all what happened in Bridgetown. Now, I can stop him early, but he don't prepare his speech for New Year's. You can tell the hustle and bustle and all the money that Bajans got. How much money Bajans spend in Bridgetown?
Yeah.
But I got a message for he. Tell him that I with the earnest commission on the ground. You limited stop to me. You all ain't get people the money. So all this money I spent for Christmas is from Excel, Course Ready Cash, and Sal McCall, Cape Shepherd credit card, Massey credit card, the Mothers Union, the Christian Union, the Credit Union, all of these banks. But where you don't come to all your day or do your day and tell people that you get I stop you early. I on the ground. All this is ball money that make Bristol alive. You don't give us nothing. And you think 21 cents. I even know the other day that I'm making you. I proved that I'm making even 25 cents now. Because I was going to the dermatologist after they had the growth, and somebody's foot look a certain way. And I drink a rum, and then I said, oh Lord, forget going to the doctor. And then I discover myself. And they say, well, you want 4 men? I may cost no more 25 cents for a man. And you come and give me 21 cents and turn around. Look, when I see certain people that's supposed to representing us, they don't need to be there.
Yeah.
They don't need to be there. I ain't want to get too hot tonight. I don't want to get too hot. That's for another time, another place.
Yeah,
but Maxine, try and get in contact with my first lady. You can find her. I had her on my contact too, but the old computer crashed and Russell tell me about flash driving. But I had a flash driving, flash ban and thing. That young people technology to save these things, but I didn't know. Get in contact with the first lady, Esther Bayer. Tell that commissioner say come and represent herself. These people say that she haven't done nothing when she was Minister of Labor.
Commissioner, if I could share something with you very quickly.
We can't hear you, Ms. McLean. I will have to.
You can't hear me?
Commissioner, thank you for calling. And she's going to respond to you soon, okay? So then you can turn up your device. Thank you so much.
Yes, please, ma'am. Yeah. Yes. And all y'all enjoy the rest of the Christmas and the New Year's.
Yes, thank you so much.
And a passing, but you'll get you got any salt ham down there?
Any what?
Salt ham.
Salt ham.
The one is boiled. Maxie will know about them. I passing it yet, please.
Salt ham.
Oh, dear Jesus.
Maxie know about salt ham.
I do.
Be gone.
All right. Okay, then. Thank you so much for calling. Always a pleasure.
Yes, please.
Yes. Yes. Before Ms. McLean responds, I know that Dr. Ferdinand, you were finishing a thought. And then we
Yeah, I was just making a comment with regards to the Prime Minister's message for Christmas, and of course, I wasn't surprised at the content of the message because she's been speaking quite a bit about love, but I observed that she omitted one focus of love. She talked about love of your neighbors, you know, looking out for other people and all these different kinds of things. But I failed to hear her make mention of love of our country, which I thought I would have expected to have heard from our Prime Minister. We do things because we love our country. And I want to make it very clear, Marcia, as you know, and I thank God for the objectivity of this show. We are not in the pockets of the DLP, the BLP, the APP, or anybody. We represent the citizens of this country who maybe without this show would not even have a voice. We are their voices on this show. And I appreciate the diversity of persons that come here. They're persons from the DLP, they're persons who were with the APP. There is Apostle Scantlebury that has come on, and there are different persons that have come on. Glyne that was a member of the Barbados Labour Party cabinet from as far back as Tom Adams, you know. So we have a diversity of opinions here, but what I've found common is that we are all saying the same thing, and that is that this government is acting in a very autocratic manner without engaging its citizens, and as a result of it, almost every single bill for this year has had to be pulled back or amended or something in some way. And it suggests to me, Maxine, are you ready to make the record of this comment? It suggests to me that what Senator Kennedy said was correct. The brain is an amazing organ. It starts working in a mother's womb and doesn't stop working until you get elected to Congress,
Yes.
or in our case, elected to Parliament.
Yes.
I wrote it down.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't get a chance to write down that comment, but
I
I
wrote
know
it
Ms.
down.
McLean, she has it recorded somewhere. I record again. Write down your thoughts again to Commissioner, because we do have a caller on the line, and this is their time. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Week Show. All the best of 2026.
Well, thank you very much, Marcia, and a blessed night to Maxine McLean, and may health, strength, and everything that is good attend Dr. Ferdinand and his family.
And we
Thank
know
you.
who that voice is. That's
Oh, yes.
Yes, Mr. Newton.
Indeed, I am. Yes. Okay. Well, concern the items or my concerns for 2025. I would say that the catastrophic consequences of unethical leadership in the governance of Barbados, because there is no morality, there is no ethics in in what is being touted as leadership in Barbados. I will also say that everything this government has done since coming to office has been to the detriment of African Barbadians. Some people like to say black Barbadians, but I don't like the word black. African Barbadians. Now, for example, the uncontrollable physical development of the coastline of Barbados, particularly the east coast of Barbados, we're in the Scotland district. Another thing is the gifting of the land at Gemma's Lane to the athlete at Zane Bank. Then I come to the constitutional vandalism being perpetrated against Barbadians, because we are supposed to be a republic, but we don't have a Republican constitution.
Yes.
And practically every week, when Parliament meets, there is some kind of amendment to legislation and even the Constitution. Now, while I will not bypass the gravity of these and other attacks against Barbadians, I think the passing of the Economic Diversification and Growth Fund bill in both houses of the Parliament, that action is the most egregious and catastrophic assault on a poor black Barbadians or African Barbadians. And why do I say this? This bill marks the full return of the agents of colonization. Why I say that? You remember King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain when they sent Christopher Columbus out? Then there was James Hayes or the Earl of Carlisle. Carlisle Bay here in Barbados is named after him. He sent out his folks in 1627 to 1629. And then we come to the time of Father de las Casas, but it was Fray Pedro de, excuse me, Pedro de Campbell. When sorry, my voice was, the murder or the massacre of the Indians in Hispaniola came up, he and Father de las Casas appealed to King and Queen, King Ferdinand and the Queen Isabella, yes, and also to the Pope. And I am saying that we are now witnessing the agents of recolonization coming to Barbados by invitation of the government. Now, when it comes to in fact, all of these things, now, what is happening to young black men in Barbados? When they are ready, they give them a weed whacker and a couple of bottles of gas and a bit of string and say, go and cut my ass because you don't worth anything else, but they're not allowed to control or own anything in Barbados. But we have a government. They give me an African Exim Bank, German Flynn. And now they are taking funds out of the consolidated fund to give to companies. What about black Barbadians, young black men in Barbados? Don't they worth anything?
But Mr. Newton, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah. My question is, and I don't know. Can you hear me, Dr. Ferdinand? As they were saying.
Yes.
My question is to you. You know, what do you think Barbadians fully understand what you have just outlined there? I mean, you talked about the Afro-Exim Bank and then the funds. So we're giving away land, and then we're taking money from the consolidated fund, monies that we, from our taxes are supposed to take care of our, social services for us, etc., and being taken out. Do you think that the average Barbadian truly understand what is happening to them?
Absolutely not. They don't. They don't really understand the gravity of the attack that this government has launched against them. And that is really tragic.
Yes.
It is really terrible.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for calling. And I know there's a lot more that can be said. We do have another caller lined up, but what we can do tomorrow is another night, and we will have a longer time for people to call in tomorrow, that you can probably call back and expound some more on some of these ideas and concerns.
I would gladly do that for you. Have a blessed night, everyone.
Thank you. Powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. That's interesting there. Miss McLean, jump right in.
I really think that what Mr. Newton put there is a very serious
Yes.
analysis of the situation that we are facing, and particularly our young Black men, African Barbadians, as he would like to describe it. Because if you think about the crime situation, who are the main perpetrators and victims of the violence that we're seeing? Young Black men. If we look at our education system, who are the main beneficiaries of post-secondary education? Our women, our girls, our young women. We are not putting enough resources, and that's another discussion, because when people talked about what the previous administration, what the DLP did in terms of university and fees, they only cover part of, in fact, they don't give the explanation. But if you look at the situation then of young men, because once you leave secondary school, post 16, as you hit 18 and you're a young adult, and look and see what is happening to our males. He said you give them a weed whacker, some gasoline and a piece of string, and tell them to go. You give them a $5,000 trust fund loan that really cannot do much for the average youngster in terms of any significant transformation in his circumstance. Yet the government is not asked. And then, of course, let me look on it. We have a lot of young men we talk about the cultural industries and so on, a lot of young men who have interests in that so-called orange economy. Are they supported? Not really. And for those who might be out there capable, if they don't sing from a certain hymn sheet, they're either ignored or penalized. So overall, Marcia, I think he has touched on an issue which we have to dissect and not only describe the problem, but put solutions out there, which we have been doing over the life of the show, but we have to reinforce that. So that is my quick response, given, but I think it is something that we need to have Mr. Newton in to talk about again, and to explore, more importantly, what needs to be done to balance the equation when it comes to our young men.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. McLean. Yeah, as you said, we've touched on it and dealt with it in different ways, but we always need to, we've got to revisit it. But Ms. McLean, there was a question here, and I think Mr. Gill is on the line. We have David Gill on the line actually right now, but we needed you to answer about Mr. Esther Bayo. You want to leave that towards the end, and
I could wrap up with it if you want. Since you have Mr. Gill on, I think it's the callers' time in the show, so I could always speak to that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Good night, Mr. Gill, David Gill.
Good evening, Marcia. I hope you had a good Christmas.
Yes, I did. And let me just make sure that everybody's hearing. Can you hear him clearly?
I can hear him, but he sounds quite low.
Sounds quite low. Okay, let's see here. Let's do this again. Let me call you again. Okay, let me call you. Yes.
And Maxine.
Yes. Yes.
Hi. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do it a different way.
Okay.
And hopefully that way would be better. Let's see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I could just, while you're doing that,
hear me a bit better now?
Oh yes,
lots better.
Is this better, guys?
Lots better. Very much so.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Go right ahead. Go right.
All righty. I see you're doing the year in review.
Yes, we're doing the year in review, and so we're asking you and others, what is that particular issue that are of great concern or public concern to you? What issue that stood out the most for you? In
again
2025. We literally have 5 minutes.
It's the no, sorry, I went out for part of my Christmas festivities.
Yes,
So I did. Time has really fled. Anyway, I think the murders, crime, murders, particularly the number of young people who have died, whether it's by the gun or by the knife. It is really sad. You know, I sat a few weeks ago and started working back. I don't know if I'd mentioned this to you before, but over the time that I was in elective politics, and not talking about taking an interest in politics and following, but elective politics and getting to know people, I would say in about 20, 25 years, I have known about 20, that would be 25. I've known about, let me get it right now. Over that period of time, I've known about 25 young people who have died by violent crime. And I say to this is only the constituency which I had the honor to represent. And I'm saying that there are 30 such constituencies. You know, I like working things out like the prorata. And there are 30 constituencies. So I will tell you there are some who are over 25, there's some maybe under 25. But I am rounding up at between 750. Could be 1,000 young people who have died, 750 who have died. If I'm short, well, so be it. If I'm over, sorry. Who have died by the bullet, who have died by the sword, by the knife, and the behavior seemed to have continued unabated from late in the previous year. And the things that stand out is a very violent. Some people go as far as to call it terrorist behavior. I heard the new appointee for the British High Commission said he will speak to that when he gets to the UK, in terms of if it has been contributed to the warning which the tourists and those intending to come in this direction have had. But the behavior, Marcia, is nothing short of, and I don't see in some instances as terrorism. You see, we have this feeling or belief that a terrorist must name Abdul, that he must name Saeed, that he must name Irfan, and that he must wear a certain. That is nonsense. Yeah. That is nonsense. Nothing could be further from the truth. The whole act of terrorism is well spelled out in the act. Okay, and it speaks primarily to driving the fear into people's hearts who were assembled in places other than what it turned out to be. In other words, you are in a mall and somebody comes in, you're in a barber shop and somebody comes in and sprays the barber shop or sprays the sitting area or drives by on motorbike and sprays it. That is terrorism.
That's right.
That act is a terrorist act. I ask any lawyer, any practicing lawyer, KC, QC, whatever, to go back and check the act. I was there when the act was passed. I know it very well. So it is that kind of behavior, the one that came over, as I was about to say, from Wellington Street, when he went down there, that I think was late the year before. Yeah. And that area was sprayed. That could never come out of my thoughts. And I don't recall if the young guy who was murdered in Whole Town, if that was this year or very late last year. But for sure, that was circulated. And let me tell you something. As the old people would say, it sort of formed a grief lump in my throat for days, for weeks, because I've got young family who were at school at the same time as that young man, you know, and circumstances precipitated maybe his slight delinquency, but young people have no right dying like that. Yeah. And then you have to look at what contribution, what negative impact it makes to our national insurance and our or nation building that in 30 years, in 25 years, you have lost 750 of us young people, Marcia. That is certainly, that is anything more than 100 young people in that time smacks of a place of war. So when I hear people speaking about we are not in a zone, that we are in a zone of peace, or we are not in a zone of, I tell you, each and every one of these Caribbean islands. Only last week I was speaking with a good friend from St. Vincent, and he said to me, boy, it's nothing like when you used to be there. So it's St. Lucia, St. Vincent. I could get in a cab anytime, because I used to work the islands, and I could go to a show, I could go to jazz, I could go to any, from one hotel to the next, and if it's nearby, you walk back home. Marcia, I spoke with a very good friend of mine who, I'm not going to say if the person is male or female, who was in the local constabulary and then went on to the regional security service. And I almost said if it was he or she. And the individual went to England late last year and came back early this year. And I asked the individual, something that I've been saying and I've been asking people, where do you feel most comfortable? Or do you feel more comfortable walking the streets of London or the streets of Bridgetown? And the individual said to me, David, you want me to be honest with you? I felt more comfortable in London. Did I shock you? I said, no. I wanted to hear from someone.
Somebody. But you know what?
From someone.
You know what, Mr. Gill?
Directly involved.
Mr. Gill, I don't know if you can hear me, but you know what?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly.
What I would like to do, I would like to set a time with you tomorrow that we can go through this some more, because I want us to look at last year.
How the economy is losing those people. It's like when the young, for a little island, 166 square miles.
We don't have much time now, but what we can do is to set that tomorrow, because I think what we need to do is to have have the mics, open more, and for people to call in and just talk. So we're going to do that a bit more tomorrow. And
when you say tomorrow, you mean Wednesday?
No, tomorrow is Monday.
Oh, shuck. You see, I'm a day ahead. It's like we had 3 Sundays in the week. I was saying.
Tomorrow is Monday. So tomorrow is Monday. So we'll have a show tomorrow, and then we're So I'm going to break.
Oh, then you're going to break.
Yes, I'm
okay.
So let me break you here, and let's pick this up tomorrow. So I wrote down your name and Nigel's name and Commissioner's name, and I'm seeing Michelle here. Michelle, I'll let Michelle do the last call for the next.
Okay, no problem at all, Marcia.
We'll continue. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Too much blood has been spilled in the air.
Yes, and make sure you put me down for tomorrow, okay?
Okay, I'll try to squeeze you in because I'm trying to finish off Christmas.
Yes, I understand. God bless.
Okay, God bless.
Yes. Yes. And we have one more person was trying to reach us, and I'm going to let her say a few words. And then, we're going to close. Yes. Good night, ma'am. Good night, Michelle.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Dr. Ferdinand.
Is this Michelle?
How are you? How was your wife? How was your family? We're hoping, we're wishing for the best. Can't wait till you get back to Barbados.
Yes.
Miss McLean, good night, everyone. Good night to loyal opposition. Good night, Merry Christmas.
Good night to you.
Happy New Year. We're going into 2026. We're going into 2026. We're doing it big in 2026.
Yes. Now, do you have any issues you were here in Barbados for a couple of months? It's about, 3 or 4 months?
No, ma'am. I was in Barbados for 8 months. 8 months.
Oh my God.
Yep.
8 months.
She was living
I completely was like absorbed in everything. 8 months, everything absorbed. I absorbed in Barbados. I'm not the one from the diaspora to just come for a couple of weeks. I really have the time, and I can do it, and I can stay in Barbados as long as I need to stay. But this year was
I don't know if to say incredible. I don't know if to say just indifferent. It's a whole lot of feelings I have about 2025. And I think the most is the land grab. I have a problem with the land grab in Barbados because that is the only way to wealth. Our land, we cannot allow this. Whether it's Jones River, whether it's Gemmids Lane, whether it's Trent, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. The land grab. Barbados can't get any bigger, and when they take that from us, okay, our next generation. We'll have nothing here. Barbados will not be the same. So I think that's what affected me the most is the land grab. And yes, that leads to other things. It does lead to crime. It does lead to uncertainty. It does lead to homelessness. So I think the land grab issue is the biggest problem. Gemmids Lane, that was hurtful. Gemmids Lane was hurtful. So
for you, yes.
exactly.
You know what? I would love for you to think about why it was so hurtful to you, and let's continue this conversation. I'm writing it down. I have Michelle, I have Nigel, and I have David Gill, and I have Commissioner. So tomorrow you will be able to get that chance to talk about it a bit more, but I just still want to get your call in. Thank you for calling, and happy
Thank you.
Year.
Good night. Good night.
Yes,
Love you,
and
Barbados.
Happy
Good
New
night.
Year to you too, Michelle.
And thanks for all you do. Yes, Miss McLean, Dr. Ferdinand, and here we go again, trying to end the show. But let me go to Miss McLean, and then to we don't see you often, so and then you'll have your last word. Go ahead, Miss McLean. Yes.
Well, just simply to say to the commissioner, he asked me to defend him in essence. That I did while he was speaking. I used the technology he referred to, and it put paid to some of the inaccuracies. He made reference to the work of the former Minister of Labor, Dr. Esteban Suku, and in fact, there were minimum wage increases under her tenure. That was one, so he is correct. And at another time, you can go through those sexual harassment legislation, minimum wage legislation, safety and health, work legislation, and a whole set of other accomplishments. So that supports his perspective. So I will leave there.
Yes.
But it pays some people to create false narratives.
Yes, and it's important to push back against those narratives. And I think that's the point he's trying to make as well. Dr. Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Well, just let me close by saying, Marcia, that I trust that in the new year 2026, that the people of Barbados will cross-examine this government. Because as that verse says, it's let me get it right. The first speech in a court case is always convincing until the cross-examination starts. And I want to ask the people of Barbados whether the election is on the 19th of January or the 19th of August. I think there's quite a bit, Maxine, as you would know, when it comes to the proroguing of Parliament, the dissolution of Parliament, and those things that have to be done. I'm exceptionally doubtful the 19th of January is going to be a reality. But in 2025, given how this government has functioned, I'm almost tempted to say it would not surprise me. But it's exceptionally doubtful. I don't think the election mechanism is in place for them to do that. And I think they would like to try to win back the government. God bless them in that effort. I have my doubts where that is concerned, because I'm asking Barbadians for 2026, let us cross-examine this government. That is our duty as citizens, especially in a republic, by the people, of the people, and for the people. Let me take this opportunity, because I'm not sure if I'll be back on before the end of the year, to wish the loyal opposition a happy and blessed new year. And yourself, Maxine, I'm not sure I'll get to see you before 2026. And you, Marcia, Dave, and Glenn, the entire team, wish you a happy, happy new year.
Thank you so much, and well received.
Same to you.
Yes, and I want to thank Ms. McLean, who had a busy day today, but she came on. And, you know, we thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you to Janine, who picked up the challenge to come on as well. And of course, Dr. Ferdinand. I know this is the last couple of days, and as people still doing the Christmasing, you know, Christmas is still going on. So I want to thank
12 days of Christmas.
12 days of Christmas.
Yes.
Well, you know, let me just read just something here very, very quickly about that. The note or whatever is being rumor has been circulating about this election. And this is coming from a source that I believe that we should listen to this particular person, right? And it says the factual situation is that there's not even an electoral and boundaries commission in place. This is in response to this circulation of this rumor about the election on January 19th. Not a single station has been set up to deal with the administrative process of registration or transfer of the electors and inspection of the electoral list and other mandatory requirements of the preparation of an election. It is therefore not practicable for there to be an election next month. On the other hand, if the Prime Minister were to be so reckless to do what is being highly rumored, to call an election 3 weeks, in the next 3 weeks, she would be guilty of disenfranchising thousands of voters as she did in the COVID election.
Correct.
Now, really, she cannot be as despotic as that. But that is reasonable thinking on my part. While we must prepare for acts of unreasonableness, it is important that the country is not driven into a state of panic as this rumor is threatening to do. Right? And I think Ms. McLean also spoke of some of those reasons earlier why she thinks it's just a rumor. All right? So, but thanks to everybody. Thank you, Dave, so much for all that you do. Thank you for Michelle for helping me to prepare. And tomorrow we're back on again, and we are going to talk about the next 6 months, July to December. And I'm hoping that this time around we'll start with the callers, and let's see what happens. Start the show with the callers, and then just see how it picks up. Thank you so much again, Ms. McLean. Thank you for this. We appreciate it. Thank you, Dr.
All the best, Pastor Ferdinand, and give my regards to your wife, and I trust that she will continue to be protected by God's grace.
Thank you so very much. Yes, we are praying, and I will say that we have felt the prayers of so many, and we're deeply appreciative. Thank you. Oh, and Maxine, don't forget to check on that thing for me. You know what that thing is. Okay.
All right. All right, you guys. God bless.
Bye-bye. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Love you all.
Born in Bethlehem, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. A bright star rise over Bethlehem town. Good news spread and the angels come down. The shepherds run with a sheep and a praise, saying glory to the King, let his name be raised. Oh, we celebrating, yes, my Jesus coming. Light in the darkness, hope for the nation. Lift up your worship, this is salvation. Joy come down, Jesus Christ is born. Praise ring out, early Christmas morn. Dance and sing, lift your voice again. For the Savior of the world was born in Bethlehem. Joy come down, let your heart rejoice. Break every chain with a mighty praise voice. Clap your hands, tell your neighbor amen. For the King of glory come, born in Bethlehem. Oh, from Nazareth straight to Galilee shore. Hear the people chant, we want Jesus more. Wise men bringing gold and precious spice. Bowing down low to the holy Christ. Oh, redemption calling, chains of sin now falling. Joy come down, Jesus Christ is born. Oh, praise ring out, early Christmas morn. Hey, yeah, yeah. Dance and sing, lift your voice again. Yeah. For the Savior of the world was born in Bethlehem. Joy come down, let your heart rejoice. Break every chain with a mighty praise voice. Clap your hands, tell your neighbor amen. For the King of glory come, born in Bethlehem. He's Emmanuel, God with us. He's the Prince of Peace, victorious. Oh, lift up your hands, lift up your song. Praise the King who reigns forever strong. Hey, praise him. Hey, hey, praise him. Praise him. Oh, joy come down, Jesus Christ is born. Oh, praise ring out, early Christmas morn. Dance and sing, lift your voice again. For the Savior of the world was born in Bethlehem. Joy come down, let your heart rejoice. Break every chain with a mighty praise voice. Clap your hands, tell your neighbor amen. For the King of glory come, born in Bethlehem. Joy come down, every nation praise, every country to carry a flame. Clap your hands, tell your neighbor man, for the King of glory come, born in Bethlehem. Joy come down, every nation praise, Africa to Caribbean race. Clap your hands, tell your neighbor amen, for King of glory come, born in Bethlehem.